We are pretty positive on the cycle. We think we're at the bottom of the cycle. What we're seeing today is that hardware bottomed, and we're just in the early innings of investments, of hardware investments. We think this is going to be a pretty big data center investment cycle ahead of us, and that's going to really drive the rest of technology out of this downturn.
So continuing to see more upside for a company like NVIDIA, which already has tripled this year and is one of the best performers in the US?
Absolutely. So what's happened to NVIDIA, for example, as we saw numbers bottom and increase off the bottom, the stock is just getting cheaper and cheaper on traditional valuation metrics. So we believe what we're going to see with NVIDIA, historically, the focus has been growth investors and people trying to capture the AI hype. But as we go forward, really there is fundamental support from the numbers here. So we believe that as you go forward, there's going to be value investors that will be looking at this stock.
Talking about AI, talking about data centers.
Isn't that kind of wild, though, thinking of NVIDIA as a value stock? But go ahead.
A value stock that's $1.1 trillion and seeing more upside after it tripled.
It's a different world.
ARM, the biggest IPO in the world this year, talking up a lot of AI, SoftBank owned, talking up their partnerships with NVIDIA. Is that a company that you see upside with alongside the likes of an NVIDIA or an AMD?
So we don't own ARM at the moment. They are indirectly an AI play, but what I would caution investors is that over time, everything is going to be an AI play, right? So you're going to have, most applications have AI embedded in them, and most products will be able to enable AI to run on them. So over time, we believe ARM will benefit from this trend, but it's not nearly as big of a beneficiary as NVIDIA would be at this point in time.
Ivana, do we think about, though, AI in the same vein that we thought about going online, right, in the internet? And at some point, I remember having these conversations. Every company is going to be an internet play. Well, they're not. Even retail, while online and mobile ordering and all that good stuff, we still think about brick and mortar. And I'm just wondering, like, can we think about them as the same thing? To hear you say everything's going to be an AI play, I just remember saying that about the internet. Everything's going to be an internet play. And I don't know that it's actually played out that way.
Well, that's an interesting point. So when I say everything is going to be an AI play, AI will take part in most of applications that we use. That doesn't mean that every company is investable and every company will offer value. So that's where we come in. We try to look at the fundamentals, model out how much earnings potential does each company have, where does that stand compared to the street estimates, and we're really looking for capturing alpha of opportunities where people are maybe missing out on or not understanding how they are related to AI or how they're going to benefit from AI.
Because I remember one of the ways of thinking about the internet play was like UPS, right? Everybody's ordering, so, very different. So how do you think about it? Where do you think will be the best opportunities? Is it somebody who's making the chips for the AI sector, or is it something else?
So what we see is opportunities across several layers of AI. So the first layer is the hardware layer, which we talked about. So that would be NVIDIA, AMD, Marvell, basically companies that not only offer GPUs, but just broader data center networking equipment as well. We still see those as being in the early innings. The next layer of opportunity will be in the data layer. So here you have a lot of software companies that offer services in addition to the cloud vendors that are also in this data layer. In addition to them, they offer services such as data streaming, enabling you to organize your data better. Right. So this is where we see a lot of opportunities right now because they're not necessarily called AI and they're not necessarily seeing the benefit in the numbers just yet because it's a little too early, but over the cycle we believe we're going to start seeing it as we get into next year.
And is there a third layer?
And then the third layer would be the application layer, and this would be like the application that go either directly to businesses or directly to consumers. So an example would be ChatGPT, an example would be Microsoft Office Copilot. So these are the actual applications, and that's probably the most uncertain layer because we're still trying to figure out how much are consumers willing to pay, how much are companies willing to pay for these products, how much do they actually cost on the back end, because running on GPUs is pretty costly. So this is where there is the most uncertainty. There are going to be some winners as well, but there's going to be some losers as well, right? Companies that are not going to be able to make the business case work.